Fact or fiction, today we are busting 10 more myths about running. Hello fellow geeks and welcome back to Running Geek Girl. My name is Heather and I'm glad you are here today. Now, how much do you really know about running? There's a lot of things that we've been told that just simply aren't true. And today we're going to be taking a look at 10 facts and talk about what the actual truth is behind them. Now, I've done this before. There's a link up here if you have missed it, where we busted 10 myths about running that you have probably heard before. But today we're going to take a look at 10 more. Be sure to stay tuned to the end. The last one is definitely going to be relevant in the upcoming months. Number 1, you have to run every day or you'll never see improvement. It is definitely not necessary to run every single day to improve, and you have to factor in a lot of different things like what are your goals? What are your personal experiences with running? It's also important to note that there is not one universal program that is going to apply to every single athlete. There are some training principles that are going to apply to every runner, but there are lots of individual aspects that have to be considered to ensure that you achieve your goals and remain injury-free. The bottom line is that to improve, you do need to have a plan, and the plan needs to be adhered to. But mixing up things like terrain, surface, footwear, and intensity is going to be just as important as how often you run. Number 2, at a race, you should drink at every water station. That's simply not true, and in some cases it may do more harm than good. If you drink too much water, especially during a longer run, then this can cause a condition called hyponatremia, which is an electrolyte disturbance in which your sodium or salt concentration in your serum is lower than it needs to be. Exercise-associated hyponatremia, which is referred to as EAH, is not uncommon. Researchers found, for example, that 13% of the athletes that finished the Boston Marathon in 2002 were in a clinically EAH condition. The salt levels in their blood had fallen below what was considered to be an acceptable level. Some of the symptoms of EAH will include things like nausea, vomiting, headache, confusion, lethargy, fatigue, loss of appetite, restlessness, irritability, muscle weakness, spasms, and cramps. And in extreme cases, you'll find seizures and decreased consciousness, or sometimes even a coma. So it is definitely not fun. Knowing how much water you need to drink is not an exact science. It's going to take some figuring out and looking at some of your factors like temperature and wind. Number 3, only potassium from bananas is going to prevent that cramping. Now, we know the bananas are nutritious, they're healthy, they're great exercise snacks, they're full of easily digestible sugars and electrolytes, and your muscle cramps are usually caused by dehydration or an electrolyte imbalance. So if a banana has electrolytes, it should be good at preventing cramps, right? Not always. A 2012 study from North Dakota State University's Department of Health, Nutrition, and Exercise found that bananas, despite being full of electrolytes, are unlikely to relieve exercise-induced cramps. There's still a lot of nutrition in bananas, however. Bananas are easy to carry, and they are great fuel for any exercise. Research indicates that if you want to ease cramps, turn to vinegary foods. Vinegar sends a message to your brain to relax the nervous system, which decreases motor neuron activity in the cramping muscle. So consider pickle juice or a shot of apple cider vinegar before your next run in order to help you prevent cramps. Number 4, you have to run hard to be effective. Your heart and energy stores don't work according to how many miles you put in. They work to effort and time. So try to move away from tradition and work to time and effort. Don't worry about if you ran 7 miles or not on a run. If you went out on a run 60 minutes at an easy pace and you felt in control of your body, then that is what matters, and that's what's going to get you to your next goal. Number 5, the more cushioning in the shoe, the less the chance of injury. No one shoe is going to prevent injury, no matter what anyone says, just the same as always going barefoot is going to prevent injury. Running is a stressful endeavor, and the risk of injury is always going to be present for a variable number of reasons. So does this mean that cushion shoes are better or worse than less cushion shoes? Not necessarily. It's going to depend on the runner. Some runners are going to require more cushioning just because of their biomechanics, the level that they're training, the race they're training for, their experience level. And as an example, Hoka, which has a maximalist shoe, they work off of a zero drop but a 40 millimeter platform in a very lightweight package, and that's gained a lot of acceptance in the ultramarathon community. So that makes sense. If you're going to be running 100 miles or more, then of course you may want to be as comfortable as possible. The opposite side of this is that most runners can deal with less cushioning rather than more, and the thing to remember is that If you have more cushioning, that usually adds more weight to the shoe. So depending on how fast you're needing to run, you may need to go for a lighter and more minimal shoe. In short, the only thing that's going to prevent injury is going to be your training itself. Number 6, side stitches only happen because you're out of shape. Side stitch while running can certainly be caused by shallow breathing, which means you're not getting enough oxygen to the muscles and it results in muscle cramps. However, it could be the result of eating a large meal before you ran, which means the body's trying to digest food and it's pressing against the diaphragm. Or it can also result from a sudden spike in blood sugar due to a gel or an energy drink that you may have just taken in. That spike in blood sugar will slow your stomach from emptying, which causes a bloated feeling after running, and it shrinks the space around your diaphragm, which then will cause a side stitch. Dr. Darren Morton has done extensive studies on this, and the short story is that a side stitch is an irritation of the membrane lining in the abdominal cavity, and that what and when you eat and drink before you get active raises or lowers the odds of you having one. Number 7, you have to follow a certain diet to improve your running performance. You may have had people tell you that only going vegan is going to help you with your running, or only going keto is going to help you with your running, or maybe only going paleo is going to help you with your running. Matt Fitzgerald did a great job of breaking this down in his book, Diet Cults. He concluded that science has established quite definitively that humans are able to thrive equally on a variety of diets. The key is to try and find out what works for you. Once you have figured out your ideal diet, then it's going to improve energy, you're going to enjoy food more, and you may avoid some of the gastrointestinal issues that come with running. Number 8, everyone gets injured. It's just part of running. It's true that runners are going to be prone to injury like shin splints and plantar fasciitis, but there are proven strategies for how to prevent running injuries. Strength training, mobility exercises, gradually increasing intensity, this all reduces your risk of injury. New runners need to make sure that you are not doing too much too soon. You need to allow your body to adapt to the stress that's caused by running. For example, if you learn to do uphill runs, then that's going to strengthen the muscle groups that alleviate strain on the knee, which is the most loaded joint in running. Also, cross-training exercises and practicing other sports are going to be essential to becoming a better and stronger runner. Number 9. Running on the treadmill is totally different from running outside. Most runners are going to tell you that there is a huge difference between running outside and running on the treadmill. But a study released by the Journal Medicine of Science published in 2008, they showed that although the two are definitely not exactly the same, you can compare the two when it comes to running mechanics. The study also showed that treadmill running was also beneficial to muscle stimulation. So go ahead, if you can't make it outside, hop on the treadmill. You just may want to find a good way to keep yourself entertained. And number 10, you really shouldn't run in the cold or the rain. You've probably heard from someone before, if you run in the cold, you're going to catch a cold. And it's true that certain illnesses are more prevalent in cold weather. But did you know that common cold viruses are spread more easily indoors than cold weather because all of your windows and doors are closed? So staying indoors is probably not the answer. Regular moderate exercise is known to boost the immune system, which is going to help you fight off a cold. Plus, running outside in the cold can help combat things like seasonal affective disorder and stimulate extra calorie burning. So go ahead and lace up, but if it's raining, keep an eye out for lightning because that's a sure sign you'd be much safer indoors. So there you go. There are 10 more myths about running busted. Did any of these surprise you? What do you think? Why don't you let me know down in the comments below? Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Just click that button down below. It doesn't cost you a thing, and it keeps you up to date on all the running content I have coming out all the time. You can also give this video a big thumbs up. Both of those get me out to more runners just like you. Don't forget to follow me on social media. All the links are down in the description. You can find me across all platforms under the name Running Geek Girl. Thanks so much for joining me. I'm so glad you could be here. Remember to laugh hard, run fast, and be kind. I'll see you later.